I am so excited to be here today to celebrate the launch of our brand new book, Broken: Women Who Are Breaking Ancestral Cycles and Generational Ancestral Chains and Generational Cycles to create a brighter future for themselves and their families. My name is Tracy Brown, and I am co-founder of the Women Writing Intentionally Collective. And I am joined today by my co-founder Jenny Alberti and some of our incredible authors in the Wounded Women series, and particularly in the Broken title. Today I'm joined by Amanda Knorr, Sophie Neve, Jodie Jackson, and Kelly Femwright. So if you are joining us live, please do feel free, drop some comments in the chat. Let us know that you're here. Let us know if you've grabbed your copy. Feel free to post your screenshots. The girls do have some incredible launch list freebie offers available for you as a special thank you for supporting our efforts to achieve bestseller for this book. So I will also let the girls drop their links in the chat to their launch list freebies so that you can sign up if you would like to take advantage of their amazing offers. So what I'll do is, to kick this party off, I will go around the circle, let everybody introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about their title. And then we're actually going to do a reading from each person's chapter a little later on. But first we'll start with some introductions, what the title of your chapter is, just a little sneak peek about what you talk about in your chapter, and what it was that, I guess, what you're feeling today. Just as simple as that, what you're feeling today, how you're feeling about this book being launched into the world. So we're going to start with Amanda, and then
okay. So it's been, I've been telling my mom, I wrote about you. And then she's like, oh, and I'm like, all good things, all good things. But I did write about, because there's a lot of family lore, I guess. And then also I was named after my mother's grandma. And so there's a part in there, and it was just really funny, because I was just like, I am a warrior. That's the daughter of a warrior, who's a daughter of a warrior, who was the daughter of the worst warrior of all of us. And I do feel like I kept what I wrote a little bit more lighthearted this time than last time, because, and this is my third book, and I've gone pretty deep in a lot of things. And I'm going to share. Are we reading our excerpts now, or in a little bit?
We'll read them in a little bit. We'll do intros first, and then we'll do
okay.
all of the excerpts.
Right. So, but anyways, but I'm going to read. What I'm going to read was fairly. I kind of dug deep for that, and it's been sitting there for a couple years. So anyway, so you want cards? Is that what you want?
No, that's fine. Okay. We'll save that as a little surprise.
Awesome. Anyway, yeah.
Okay. So Sophie.
I forgot I muted myself. Hi, I'm Sophie, and my chapter is called Embracing Intuition, A Journey to Authenticity. And I wasn't really expecting to write the chapter that I did. I wasn't really expecting the story that came out when I was writing to actually come out. And it caused quite a bit of emotional turmoil, let's say. However, I'm really glad that I have managed to give voice to all kinds of grief, including abortion grief. And also like the loss, just loss of relationships from all parts of your life and things like that. But what my chapter really speaks to is truly listening to your intuition. So really listening to those deep down little nudges that we all get and often ignore. And yeah, my chapter really speaks to that.
I love that. Now, Amanda Lindsay is
the best. Amanda's the
celebrating
best.
all of us and covering everyone up, but thought we'd just share this one with everybody. All your hard work ensuring you're onto bestseller all over the world. She can't stay, but she just wanted to pop in and say hi.
Thanks, Amanda.
So thank you so much for all of your love and support. Amanda's part of our street team as well. And yeah, so moving on to you, Jody.
Hey everyone, I'm Jody Jackson, a manifestation coach and Reiki practitioner and now author. So exciting. My chapter is called If You Are Who You Want to Be, It Will Set You Free. And I kind of wanted to use my platform to let people know that all walks of life, that grass is always greener on the other side kind of thing, is not necessarily true. It's just not true. And I had a hard time, even though, I grew up in a middle-class town, a middle-class life, did nice things. It doesn't matter because inside we are who we are, right? And we have those masks on. And so I learned to break that chain and take my mask off. And I still struggle with it at times. I think it's a process, a never-ending process. But it feels really good. And I wanted to come here and talk about that. It is possible to break the chain and have a whole different kind of life, and just feel different. We're here once, right? We have this one go around in this life. So, and it should be happy. So, I put myself first and, not in a selfish way, but to be happy and have the kind of life that I want. And I just wanted to put it out there and show everyone that you could do it too. And it's okay.
I love that. Beautiful. I think especially talking about the masks we all wear is something that everyone can resonate with. I know I certainly do. Kelly.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Femwright. So I'm an intuitive empowerment mentor, and I specialize in working with moms, but of course, extend my services to all that would like to embark on healing, because I think it's so important, and that we, spread what we've learned to others as well. So my chapter is called My Journey from Broken to Reconnection with My Soul Purpose. And in my chapter, I could have written so many more words. There's so much more that I could have put into it. I feel like I have like a full length book on this. So it was hard to kind of narrow it down. But I go into a little bit about my mom's and my grandma's relationship and how I observed that growing up, and how it was really an anxiety driven. And it was, my grandma had major depression and anxiety, and those things were kind of passed down through the mother line. And so a big part of my healing journey has been getting through those different things, because I've also experienced them in my younger years. I've struggled with anxiety. I've struggled with depression. I've struggled with those areas. So for me, coming to my own sense of healing and discovering, what it is my soul purpose is here to do, which part of that is helping others heal. So I got into healing work. And so now I am, I do Reiki. I have Holy Fire Reiki, hypnotherapy and spiritual card readings, Akashic records. So I do all of these things to help people heal and to come to their own soul journey, soul purpose, what they're really meant to be doing here, to get through those like anxiety, depression, all of those states that we can just find ourselves spiraling in. And because in the past, I really truly believe that, you know, they didn't have the resources to get through some of those things, and they didn't have the support that we do now. So kind of moving forward and taking that healing into the next generation.
I love that. I actually thought that the way that you approached your chapter with the analogy of the oak tree and the roots was really beautiful too.
Thank you.
So now that everybody's had a chance to introduce themselves, I'm just going to pass over to Jenny so that she can say hello and say a few words to everybody.
And say hi to my mom. Hi, Mom.
Say hi to her mom.
Hi, Jenny's mom.
That was beautiful timing too, by the way. Good job, Mom. So yeah, well, I want to put you guys in the spotlight and just say that I am incredibly proud of what this book has come to be and what this series is. And the things that we share are hard. It's not easy. The things that are in this book are, you know, topics and subjects and experiences that have a lot of pain attached to it. And it's incredible the amount of vulnerability that you ladies have shared, as well as the ladies that aren't here on this call but are in the book. And you're all so special. You're so special for being vulnerable and for showing up and for sharing your story and your pain and your heartache and your triumph with everybody in the world that needs to hear it. So I just want to say that to you all live and in Facebook world for everybody to hear it. Truly beautiful writing from all of you. And just your hearts are beautiful. And I also want to congratulate you on Facebook for becoming best-selling authors today. For Amanda, it's not the first go around, but for Sophie, Kelly, and Jody, this is an incredible accomplishment and just the first of many, I know, based off of the writing that I've seen and the heart and the emotions attached to the writing. So congratulations, ladies. And that's truly what I wanted to say in terms of kind of addressing and just truly special ladies, each of you that are in front of me now and that are not here, but in the book with you. So that's what I wanted to say.
So for those of you who might only, you know, be it's morning or afternoon for you because you're in the US, we did launch the book in Australia almost 24 hours ago now. And so we are super excited to be able to share that we have reached #1 bestseller in self-help for abuse. We have also hit #1 hot new release in self-help for abuse. We have hit #1 bestseller in parent and adult-child relationships, amongst some really important books here. I mean, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents is a book that is really well respected, and to be sitting next to that in these kinds of categories is certainly an accomplishment to be proud of. We've also hit #1 hot new release in those parent and adult child relationships. And again, you can see that we are side by side with other books about daughters of narcissistic mothers or emotionally immature parents or being estranged in relationships and things like that. And we've hit that in a couple of different categories. So it's really incredible the achievements that each of you guys are achieving, and that's just in Australia. And I mean, those are only showcasing a couple of our #1s, but we are following that up very closely as we move through the day across the different time zones globally. And I know that we also hit #1 bestseller in one of those same categories in Canada, and we are rising up the ranks in the US and the UK. So as we continue through the rest of this day and through the weekend, we hope to be adding a few more feathers to your caps. And I think you should be so incredibly proud of all of your accomplishments. Not the least of which is that we've also got some amazing reviews coming through. So people who have been part of our review team, but also other people who are purchasing the book and leaving reviews on Amazon, are saying such wonderful things like, if you've ever felt hopeless about your situation, these stories will inspire you to keep going. Or, heartfelt stories of resilience and strength by inspiring women. These are the words that other people are feeling as they're reading your stories. They're loving reading about your experiences and how you've overcome it to break the cycles that we're taught. They are really just, it's amazing to see what everybody has to say. So I just wanted to share a few of these reviews that have come through so far. And if you are watching and you've purchased a copy of the book, we would very much love for you to leave us a review on Amazon, because we do read each and every single review that you guys leave. We absolutely love knowing just how our words have impacted you and what you feel about them. And we are really just so incredibly proud to have published this book, because it is a really important topic. It is something that, we as women, when we come together in a sense of community, these are the things that we talk about. These are the kinds of things we share our pain, we share our struggles. And this is how we realize that we're not alone in the world. And I know that for me, when I had small children, I felt very isolated and like I was the only one that a lot of things were happening to, until I made some amazing mummy friends at playgroup, and it turned out everybody else was experiencing the exact same kinds of dramas as I was. And it was in those kinds of moments that I really learnt to value that sense of female community and the power of being able to share and overcome and provide support. And books like the Wounded Women series, books like Broken, are our attempts at not just creating a community through the authors, but also creating an invisible community for all of our readers and everyone who finds our book and reads our book and can feel like they are standing in our circle with us, that they are seen and heard and held, because our stories are like their stories, and that they're not alone as well. So I really feel that the importance of books like this at this time, when we are I guess, trying to break down a lot of those taboo barriers and those walls of the things that we weren't allowed to talk about. Nobody should talk about those things, the secret shames, and highlighting them is, it's so incredibly important. So thank you to everybody who has purchased the book. Thank you to everybody who has left a review. And thank you to all of you beautiful ladies who have stepped up and been brave enough to share your stories and provide that light for everybody else, because you are exactly what Jenny said. You guys are amazing. And I am so incredibly proud of each and every one of you. And with that, I'm just going to stop talking for a minute and share another one. So, Izzy, the link there is in the captions, but I will also drop the link into the chat box as well, and hopefully that will pop up.
Oh, so I just want to say, it's like each of us, when we have sort of like these reasons why we want to contribute to a book, right? And they're somewhat about us in the beginning, right? Like, oh, I've always wanted to write, or I've always wanted to become an author, or I'd really like to share that story, or, you see how contributing to a book or writing a book can help you grow your business, or all these different things. And then once you actually write the story, and it's the story that needs to come through, like Sophie, how you said, what actually happened isn't what you thought was going to happen, right? It just turns into something so much bigger than our original intentions. And it's just funny because that was what it was always meant to be. And when each of you said yes to any of the books, whether you're in multiple in the Wounded Women series or you're just in Broken, when you said yes, you had yes for a certain reason in mind. And it has changed and grown and manifested, and it will continue to do that because this book is a forever thing. And it's forever going to grow much bigger than your original intention. And it's just an incredible thing to witness. And it never doesn't surprise me, because each time when the chapters come through, it's just so powerful. And I know that what was intended on when you said yes, it just became so much more. And it's so apparent in these stories and in these chapters that each one of you may have said yes for some sort of a selfish kind of reason. But in the end, it's so much bigger and so much more powerful than you could have ever expected. So I was just, not that I had any specific where that I was going with that, but that was just what was going in my head at that time. And I thought that I was going to just say that and share that. So there we go.
I love that.
Well, and where everybody we had Zooms together and we visited together a little bit. But when the book comes out and then I get to read your stories, right? I know the process I went through to get mine down and that journey. And when I read the other stories, I'm so impacted and I'm blown away. And I'm just and it's like Christmas morning too, because I don't know what my co-authors put. And I sit and I cry and I just think, oh my gosh, and I'm so grateful to be in a community of women where we can bare our souls and support each other. And when we read each other's things, we have an idea of what each of us had to put into that to get it out.
That's such a good point, Amanda. It's such a good point, because I think that this one in particular, was a little challenging. And, whatever the challenge was, we know what we went through, like you said, to get over that challenge, get over those, feelings and emotions and those things that are bubbling up, and to actually get it onto paper, go through the editing process, and then put it out there into the world. And it's like, even though each one of us were kind of, going through that process on our own, like you said, we have each other. We're all doing it together. And then we get to put it out into the world together. So it's just, that was a really good point, because without that, it's very lonely, right? Like some of these things that we're writing about and sharing, I don't know that I can imagine doing that as a solo, like by myself, right? Like without being able to lean on each other or go to the chat and send each other love, or, things like that. Like I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. So it's a good point.
I mean, I have to agree that a lot of the magic in being in a book like this isn't actually just the part where you say yes and you think, oh, I'm going to become an author, it's going to be amazing. The magic actually is in the times when everybody has come together in the writers' circles and, as Amanda said, had a little visit, and we get to know each other a little bit behind the scenes. We get to start forming those bonds. We get to see glimpses into each other's challenges and journeys, more than, as we said, what's on the page, because the words that make it onto the page, the words that make it into the book, are like the tip of an iceberg. They only just barely scratch the surface of the journey that each of us goes through in the crafting of the words and the birthing of the story onto the page. And that emotional journey that we go through, and I mean, I hope this resonates with some of you guys, because I will spend ages like going on this whole emotional journey, and then I read the sentence that I wrote down and I'm like, that doesn't even really, that's not a reflection of what I've just been through and how much trauma I've just been through. But it is that the chapters are just the tip of the iceberg, and it is that journey that we go on that is so big and it is so deep. And for the chapters themselves to feel so impactful means that not just is that the message that the reader gets to experience, but it's like 10 times deeper than that, what we had to put into it to get it there. Does that make sense? So, it is something that I think having that community of people to share with and get to know and get to have that opportunity to walk a little bit of that pathway hand in hand, metaphorically speaking, or, because we're not all in the same place at the same time. But it is then like Christmas morning, Amanda, where you get to read everybody's chapter and then you get to walk their pathway and you get to unwrap their story a little and, see all of the little pieces that came together, which does make it the perfect time for everybody to share a little piece of their story. So we might just, go, like whoever wants to put their hand up first can go. I'm going to be reading Tara's chapter and Jenny's going to be reading Laurie's chapter. They couldn't actually join us here live, but they did choose sections of their chapters that they would love to share. So do we have any volunteers to go first?
I'll go.
Okay.
I always wait to see if anyone else raises their hand. And if they don't, I'm like, okay. It's like when I went back to school as an adult, no one ever raised their hand. I'm like, okay, I'm the adult. Okay, let me should I just go?
Yeah,
go for it.
Okay. So, like I said, the chapter is called If You Are Who You Want to Be, It Will Set You Free. And the little part
Yeah.
I'm going to read is so this is about when I was a little child, young in nursery school. And all the years through that I went through school and then after school when we start growing up and finding ourselves and finding out who we really are and who we really want to be if we realize that who our family expected us to be isn't who we want to be, but we don't want to let anybody down. So, when my mom drove me to nursery school, I was so scared I didn't want to leave the car. I must have had a premonition. Shy, sensitive, and bullied all the time, I was that kid who got picked last when choosing teams in gym class. I had very few friends and took everything personally. On top of that, I struggled academically, and without being diagnosed, I was labeled as slow in school and held back in third grade. My parents didn't question the labeling, so I told myself I was a lousy student. All my mother did was teach me how to escape the tormenting by saying, go watch TV or go take a nap. They put me in private schools to try to alleviate the bullying, but that was harder academically, and I fell behind. So they moved me back to public school where I faced the bullies once again. This cycle continued throughout all my years at school. Going to 5 different schools in 12 years left me with no choice but to learn to cope, like my mother, through anger, sadness, and frustrations were my go-to emotions. Finally, in the 1980s, I was in high school and old enough to drive. This allowed me to find new friends, and the ones I felt connected to went to a music and art school. They were of different nationalities, colors, religions, and they opened my mind to new ideas, which felt like freedom. Slowly, I developed a more positive attitude and began to understand who I wanted to be. These new ideologies that I had never known allowed me the freedom to explore. I wore black lace to my prom in the 80s and cut my hair in an asymmetrical style. Experimenting with thoughts, ideas, and my own personal style gave me a freedom I had never experienced. And I began to come out of my shell. I discovered that I didn't feel the need to escape anything once I was around the right people. And I look forward to all the new possibilities. Although I tried going to college to appease my parents, I stopped after 2 semesters. Then I tried cosmetology school and became a hairdresser at Supercuts. This was a much better fit than college. After showing my parents that I had tried their suggestion, I found a better path, one more suited to my true self.
So beautiful. I love that, Jody. Thank
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jody.
you. Who would like to go next?
I'll go. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I just lost it. Okay. So this is a short excerpt of my chapter, which is called Embracing Intuition, A Journey to Authenticity. Throughout this relationship, my self-awareness bloomed. I dreamt of a life where I could be myself, free from escaping the familiar misery through alcohol and drugs. I aspired to a career that ignited my soul, helping others and financially thriving without relying on a man as a financial plan, while savouring moments with my son, my first true love. I wanted him to learn that settling for anything less than peace, love, genuine happiness, and a regulated nervous system wasn't necessary. I wanted to teach him to trust his intuition, to pursue this path. I had to listen to what my intuition told me. I needed to cut all ties with this relationship. I faced the heart-wrenching decision to end this pregnancy.
So beautiful. Sophie, I just want to let you know that I'm really glad that you actually touched on guilt and shame around having abortions as well, because it's something that I came up in my circle of friends probably 12 or 18 months ago now. And I have a friend who is similar kind of thing, already had 3 little girls and made a decision not to continue with the pregnancy. And it's something that people definitely don't talk about. And
yeah, sorry, I just totally cut you
no,
off.
no,
But
so
it's so difficult. It's like I said, it was really hard that story kept coming out. So when I was like journaling with prompts and picking out all the stories, it was always that one that came from my heart. And it's really difficult because I've also had a pregnancy, an ectopic pregnancy, and that was after the abortion, and the pain and the guilt and the self-blame that comes with that, as if I deserved it. And then honestly worrying about this story being put out there, because again, there's that people that talk about this that much. This is quite a true subject, and yeah, there's a lot of fear in the back of my mind about sharing this. But I am glad that I have, because I know I'm not the only one, and yeah, I think it deserves. I think grief over abortion deserves a seat at the table to be spoken about.
yes, exactly. It deserves a seat at the table. Beautifully said. Thank you, Sophie.
You're welcome.
Who'd like to go next?
I can go next.
Perfect.
So my chapter is called But It's Tradition. But this part that I'm reading that's at the end of my chapter actually came to me in the fall of 21 as I was learning to trust myself, that I should have always, you know what I mean? Like, because I was taught to ignore and what I knew was true so that I could do the right things, if that makes sense. And so this came to mind when the titles all came out. So Broken was the first book I was actually ready to sign up for because I knew I was going to put this in here. So it's called Holy and Free. When I was holy, when I was free, I heard them whisper. They came to me. When I was holy, when I was free, they were calling me. They wanted me to see. I looked away. Others told me who to be. I chose not to hear them. I chose not to see. I chose to listen to those outside of me. I was not holy. I was no longer free. I was complicit as I was caged. Now I am feeling my justified rage. I thought I was doing the most correct thing. I never fit here inside of this ring. I am their daughter, and they are in me. They have always loved me eternally. They call to me, they want me to see that I am holy and that I am free. They are calling to you, they want you to see we are all holy, we are all free. Can you hear them now? They call to your soul, you are free and holy. They want you to know.
And just had like chills all through my body, Amanda.
So
It's
good, Amanda.
so much.
That says so much.
Thank you.
Now, Kelly, did you want to go next, or did you need a little bit more time and I'll read
Yeah,
tomorrow?
I can definitely go.
Okay.
So I am choosing to read starting from the very beginning of my chapter. So I'm just going to dive into that, and this opens up the chapter. So I stared up at the massive oak tree before me. As I looked it up and down, I felt its presence, its spiritual energy. I felt time expand and contract around it, the past, the present, and the future. The single tree will outlive my physical body by 600 to 800 years. In that moment, the thought of the impact this tree has had on the earth expanded my consciousness. The animals it has sustained, the number of natural disasters it has seen, the generations of people who have lived and died here among the oaks, the cycles of life, the intricate energies that are rooted deep within Mother Earth. Standing under the huge oak, I felt both overwhelmed and completely at peace. Oak trees symbolize the abundance of Mama Earth. They provide enough sustenance for thousands of animals, plus continue to produce new trees from their fallen acorns, thus passing their legacy down. In the cycles of nature lie an intricately woven pattern of incredible beauty and miracles, a network of healing support and nurturing for the forest and the land. The oak trees also have an interconnected network of roots beneath the soil. They are able to communicate with each other and prepare one another for upcoming droughts, diseases, and challenges. Just like humans have their supportive networks as we go through life, oak trees teach us that we are all connected and we are all one. What a beautiful purpose the great oak serves on this earth. It is akin to a wise, loving grandmother, always present, supportive, and protective over her family. When she leaves this earth to be among the spirit world, her influence and support is felt decades, even generations later. Healing through the generations. In my own generational healing journey, I have worked with the energy of women from previous generations of my family who have passed on and become spiritual guides. Just as the oak sustains the forest for generations, our ancestors sustain us spiritually. They become our loving guides as we move through our lives, learning our spiritual lessons and discovering our soul's purpose. Often these lessons include healing past generational trauma. When we choose to step into this healing path, we are examining all of the limiting decisions, the traumas, the challenges, and the obstacles that we have faced and that our ancestors faced before us. In my own healing journey, I've subconsciously paved the way for my own mother to take baby steps on her healing journey. This is how we begin to heal the generations, to heal the mother line. It begins with one of us deciding to do the healing work. Energetically, it makes a difference, even if those around you do not immediately support your decision to heal. I was witness to the intergenerational dynamics playing out between my grandma and mother while I was growing up. Their relationship had a very anxiety-driven dynamic. I did not understand at the time why my grandma ended up in the state she did in her late 60s. She had severe untreated psychological disorders as a result of unaddressed childhood trauma, which manifested as her becoming completely reclusive and refusing to leave her home. This was difficult for my mother to endure emotionally, and as a child observing their relationship, it set the stage for me to eventually step into a path of generational healing. Through these generational dynamics passed on to me simply because I was the next daughter in the mother line, I took on some of that anxiety and depression as my own. The unresolved traumas my grandma endured were passed down through her DNA. I became indecisive, unable to make decisions on my own, always second guessed myself, and doubted my ability to step into the life I truly desired. I stayed too long in jobs I hated and was always searching in all the wrong places for that ultimate happiness that I thought I was supposed to be experiencing. It is difficult to be the first to stand up and declare that you are making a change. Upholding energetic boundaries is a necessity if you are going to break the cycles for the next generation and protect yourself and your kids from experiencing the same negative cycles again. You are the cycle breaker, the change the difference your decision to break the cycle has a ripple effect of healing felt around the world.
So
Wow.
beautiful.
Thank you.
It's great.
I love it. There was so much there that I resonated with as well.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I'll
What-
read Lori's.
Okay.
So I'm going to read Lori's, and Lori's chapter is titled The Reckoning. So here we go. In the months and years after the Great Darkness, I was labeled the troublemaker, the one with a chip on her shoulder. I became loud, obnoxious, and inconsiderate, a perceived threat to the carefully crafted family dynamic. By the time I reached my teens, self-hatred consumed me, and I willingly embraced the role assigned to me. Emotional sorry, Lori. Emotional volatility and a tendency to cry over the slightest offense, coupled with anger and outburst marked by existence. Despite being surrounded by people, I felt lonely and like an outcast. This was the role I played within my family. However, outside of my family, I was funny, sociable, athletic, and drawn to underdogs. I yearned to be recognized for something other than being the family troublemaker. To escape the shadow of the role, I volunteered to help a neighbor bullied on the school bus, raised money for cancer research, and joined a group at school dedicated to supporting outcast students. I actively participated in the social committee to improve our class and school. I avoided getting into trouble and even won the humanitarian award in my high school graduation year. Yet, despite these accomplishments, I could never feel proud or good enough. My identity was overshadowed by my family role as the troublemaker, the defiant, and different one, the outcast. By the time I began university, I had been broken into so many pieces that the humanitarian in me was but a tiny sliver of my identity.
Oh, so beautiful. For those of you who haven't read Laurie's chapter, do read it. It is
Beautifully written too, Lori.
yeah, definitely a chapter that's not for the faint of heart. And going back to what we were talking about fear earlier, Laurie even writes in her chapter that no matter how much work she's done and all of the things, similar to what you were saying before, Jody, about occasionally still struggling with those feelings, that she still had the fear of rejection and the fear coming up for her as she was writing and sharing her story. And yeah, as you read her story, you'll notice it is a bit of a punch in the guts. I'm not going to lie. It might be hard for some people to read, but it really beautifully written and a beautiful message of hope at the end. So thank you, Laurie, for sharing that, even though you couldn't be here with us today. And beautifully read, Jen. And I've got Tara's chapter, her excerpt here. And Tara says, at the beginning of my healing journey, I dove headfirst into my paralegal career, allowing it to consume all of me until I began to discuss starting a family. The reason for this busyness was that I never wanted to go back to being that previous version of myself. I was running away from my past so hard that I was not embracing all of myself. I needed to learn to embrace and accept my past in order to find balance in the present. Since having my children, I've continued to peel back the layers of my own healing. I have moments where I say things to my kids and think, oh my goodness, I sound like my grandmother. Now I chuckle instead of panicking. Sometimes it's simply funny, and sometimes it's a reminder of how much healing is still needed. No matter what I experience or recognize within myself, I always honor it for what it's teaching me. The healing won't stop with me. It will continue throughout our future generations. I think one of the things that I actually really love about Laurie and Tara's chapter excerpts that they shared, or about their chapters, is that they so beautifully support what you were just saying, Kelly, because grandmothers feature very prominently in both of their chapters. And one of the things that did weave a thread through each of the chapters was either this relationship with grandmothers, with mothers, being a mother, and how all of those different relationships or traumas that were experienced by the different generations play out and weave their threads into our lives, whether we are conscious of it or not. And the patterns that repeat, whether people have decided to consciously break those patterns, like some parents have consciously made attempts. And going back to talking about Laurie's chapter for a moment, she does talk about how her father had made a conscious decision not to repeat particular cycles in his family, but then how there was still, like, the cycle wasn't entirely broken. And then it came to Laurie to have to heal those. So I love how there is very much a common thread through each of the chapters, even though every chapter is completely different. Every person's journey is completely different. Everybody's way, how they came to their healing, is completely different. And yet there is the common thread that all of us experience along the way. And I think that is so poetic in the way that Amanda also said earlier, she didn't know what anyone else had written. So none of you were collaborating on, oh, well, this is what I'm writing. What are you writing? Everybody wrote their own stories, and yet they all fit so perfectly together. And so thank you so much to each and every one of you for those beautiful sneak peeks into your chapter. If those chapters did resonate with you and you have not purchased your copy of Broken yet, do please visit mybook.to/broken WWS. The capitalization there is actually really important, by the way. Otherwise the link doesn't work, because there is so much more wisdom and goodness in each and every woman's chapter. And yeah, there is so much for you guys to enjoy in each of these ladies' chapters. So please do, if you haven't already got your copy, do go and grab a copy while it's 99 cents. Make sure that you hit up your favorite authors for their launch list freebies. Send them through your proof of purchase, DM it to them, sign up for their launch list, whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you can, get whatever amazing free gift that they are offering as a special thank you for supporting their launch. We are going to wrap this up with something a little bit special. I know Kelly and Amanda and I have some oracle decks here with us. I don't know if Sophie's got one close to hand or not. But We
You're
are.
changed. No, I'm not. You're not in here.
But I know that the girls have got some cards that they have are ready to draw or have already drawn to share as a message for anybody who is watching either here live with us or on the replay. It is a message for the collective. So we'll start with you, Amanda.
Okay, so I am using, excuse me, the Moon Goddess Tarot, which I absolutely love and want to use more and more of it. I pulled 2 cards and I just, this is what I do. So my freebie, just so you know, is 30 minutes, whether we do a reading, do coaching with cards. I've got an energy release technique, all the kind of fun things. Just 30 minutes of kind of whatever we decide when we get together. That's what you get to sign up for. So the first card that I picked was the Hanged one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about getting new perspectives, looking at things different ways, and also sacrificing a little bit of yourself for this knowledge. And I really feel like with this book, a lot of us did that. And I think the readers are going to go through that as well. And then the second card was the Two of Cups, which is about relationships. And yes, it can be romantic, but just relationships in general. And this whole book is about our relationships. And we're in Libra, and the new moon is tomorrow. And Libra is all about relationships and having balance in those relationships. So in those cards, I was just like, man, they were perfect.
I love that. And of course, we do have the eclipse energy for the new moon in Libra as well. And eclipse energy can be quite transformative. So again, yeah, if you're looking to transform those relationships or to, you know, be vulnerable and sacrifice a little bit of yourself to gain knowledge and wisdom, I think Amanda's hit the nail on the head. Beautiful. Kelly, are you ready to do your cards?
Yeah, so I was laughing because I pulled a couple last night and the same one came out. So, tell your story, if you guys see that. So tell your story. And I thought that was so appropriate for this whole book launch. We're all sharing our stories with the world. She even has a crown of like autumn leaves on the top. So it's like we're in autumn in the northern hemisphere. And it's just this sense of vulnerability and a sense of openness with your open hands. We are all being very vulnerable and open in sharing our stories here. And that is going to highly impact everybody that comes across these stories. So I just thought that was a beautiful message. And then one more came out, a new one today, Prowl with Confidence. So that's a really powerful card as well. And that lioness energy. So this is really about stepping into that confidence to share our stories, to come out into this sort of public space and be willing, and again, the vulnerability, and be willing to talk about this in a public space and all of those things. That, I mean, that takes a lot of courage, and that courage from the lioness, we all have that within us. So.
Oh,
Great
I love
cards.
it.
Yeah.
Such good choices. I loved the 2 cards that you shared with all of the authors in the group that tell your story. And the other one that you drew was just so perfect for everybody for launch.
Yes.
I'm using Rebecca Campbell's brand new Healing Waters Oracle because I feel I'm a water sign. I'm a Cancerian. And I feel a very strong affinity to water, but I also feel like the healing energies and whatnot are very on brand for us in this container. So the first card that I've got for everybody is water cards. I don't know if everyone can see that. It's beautiful. Look at that. And it says ancient wisdom and the intelligence is within you. So I will read out what she's got in the book, but what I feel like there is very much it resonates for me in terms of what everybody has shared, that the knowledge, and it, like Amanda's poem, the knowledge is within inside ourselves. We carry it within us. It's not from what anybody else is telling us. It's not the way that society is conditioning us. It is not the rules that are being imposed upon us. The intelligence is within us. We know deep inside what resonates for us and what doesn't, and we need to listen more to our inner compass. And that ancient wisdom, of course, coming through our genetic lines, reaching back, like Kelly was sharing earlier about the the grandmother wisdom, and listening to it, but also not being afraid for us to use our intelligence to also to shift those cycles and to change them and to use that. So water codes there. I won't read the whole thing, but just to give you an idea of what Rebecca says about that, because I feel like there's always that little extra a bit of goodness that comes through with that. And she actually, this is one of the things I do very much love. She talks about how Masaru Emoto proposed that water molecules can carry our thoughts, words, and emotions. And this theory does have the potential to change so much for humanity. Some believe that through connecting with water consciousness, we can unlock lost wisdom. What if we could remember that lost wisdom of our ancient ancestors and learn from their mistakes and reconnect to those wise ones who lived in deep reverence of the waters and the earth? What if through working with water, we could bring about healing on this water planet? You're an ancestor of time yet to come. So again, we are all paving the way for the future generations. And this is very much what this book is about, is changing the cycles, shifting them to create that brighter future for the future generations. And it says that you're an ancestor of times yet to come, called to reconnect with the wisdom of nature and the waters and be guided accordingly. You're a visionary of these times. So I feel like that is such a perfect card for this book. And then I've also got here, again, so beautiful. This one says, let it go. Just look at the complete surrender there. Release the past, forgive, soften, and move forward. I mean, you really can't you couldn't make this up if you tried. So I don't even think you need any more explanation than that. It says it all. Let it go, release the past, soften, forgive, move forward. And then ancient wisdom, the intelligence is within you. So those are my messages for the collective. And yeah, so there we go. So good. Okay, lovely ladies, and everybody who has come to join us and celebrate with us the launch of our amazing new book, Broken. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't gone and grabbed a copy of Broken, Women Breaking Ancestral Chains and Generational Cycles to create a brighter future for themselves and their families, please do jump on over to Amazon, grab your copy for 99 cents. You can find it at mybook.to/broken WWS. And please do feel that you can share with us what parts resonated from the chapter. Please leave us a review. Please let the girls know. Please sign up for their freebies, and please feel free to share about the book on your social platforms as well, so that we can get this message and these beautiful stories out into the hands of those who need to receive their wisdom the most. Does anybody have any final words or anything you want
Thank you to everyone who's already bought it. Thank you to everyone that's here supporting us. Yeah, it's deeply appreciated.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Any final parting words, Jen?
Final parting words. I seriously deeply feel very grateful to be able to do this, and to do it with amazing ladies, and to have the support of everyone in your universe, ladies, and those that aren't on this call. Because the things that we talk about are needed. They're needed in the world, and everybody that supports us is just helping that cause. So thank you to everybody who is supporting us, who is buying the book, who is sharing, who is who are writing the reviews. This isn't just a series or a book just because. It's because every woman in this book wants to create change. And so those of you that are supporting us, thank you on each of our missions. So, and congratulations, ladies. I hope you guys you feel very proud of yourselves. Do whatever you're doing to anchor in bestseller today. Sleep, some people in bed. Anchor that in. Anchor it in hard.
Yeah, and Jody, hopefully you'll have a better night's sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure I will.
Okay, well, by all means, please do keep the comments coming in. If you're catching the replay, we would love to hear from you as well. We look forward to hearing everything that you have enjoyed or resonated with. And once again, yes, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting our authors. And thank you to all of the beautiful women who stepped up and said yes. If you are watching and you feel inspired, we do have the third book in the series, Burned, coming up.
That's right.
We still have a few limited places available for contributing authors to join us in Burned. So if you are ready to scratch the surface of your own story and take the plunge, by all means, do hit Jenny or I up for more details about that. Or if you know one of our authors, do ask them to refer you on to us if we're not connected. And yeah, we look forward to being back to share with you about the next book when it's time for Burned to come out. But celebrating Broken today, celebrating such an incredible achievement. Currently #1 international bestseller in Australia and Canada, and making our way there in the US and the UK. So please do keep sharing about it, keep reading, have an amazing weekend and lean into this beautiful mood energy. Set some intentions around the relationships that you have and the relationships you want to transform and bring in. And yes, thank you for being here.